Welcome back into another edition of Training Camp Insider presented by Gregory Industries. Nathan Zagura alongside Browns legend Bernie Kosar. And Bernie, day 2 in front of the fans. It was an early morning practice kicking off around 9:30 a.m. here at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus in Berea. And after a day yesterday that was dominated by the defense, the offense got it going a little bit here today.
Yeah, the offense did a little better today. The weather held up for us, being able to come out here in the morning. I really am looking forward to the pads on Monday. The defensive line, man, we are so deep and their legs are so fresh. It makes some of the throwing drills tough on the QBs, but to see some of the quarterbacks today make some of the throws down the field, albeit our defensive backs are strong with tight coverage.
They most certainly are, and that's going to be the strength of this team, that defensive front, and then what you're able to do on the back end, hopefully generating takeaways. While there weren't takeaways today, a lot of tight coverage, but the quarterbacks all had some moments today. We saw Joe Flacco continues to throw one of the most beautiful balls you'll ever see, had a perfect back shoulder that was dropped, but came back and had a nice play over the middle to Luke Floria.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on the Joe Flacco bandwagon, but both of them throw the ball so artistically and seamlessly and effortlessly. And again, repeating myself from yesterday's show, he's 18 years in his 40s throwing the ball perfect. And he's perfectly pointed out his back shoulder fades. And something today, the weather's nice. It's not very windy. We all talk about and know about the wind in Cleveland Stadium. And I think Joe Flacco is showing guys how to throw those fades and how to be successful for even the younger quarterbacks.
Hey, you said in Huntington Bank Field, because of the wind, you've got to keep it kind of under the ceiling. You can't get the ball too high up or else you lose control.
Yeah, and it's partly one of the reasons why young kickers have problems, because when it gets above the goalpost, it blows the way the flag is going. When it's below the goalpost, it blows opposite the flag. So us quarterbacks throwing fades and stuff, being able to keep it underneath the goalpost is imperative. And Joe Flacco, repeat myself again, at 18 years in his 40s to be throwing it that perfectly, these back shoulders fades, that'll set up good to the play action game and running game that we're seeing in camp here.
Yeah, speaking of that running game, Dylan Sampson, the Browns rookie, had some very nice runs, ran a counter, kind of came out the backside on the left there, had a big gainer. But when you talk about this quarterback competition, today Shedeur Sanders got some more reps with the twos, got some reps in important situations as they did third downs, fourth downs, and he had arguably the play of the day, Bernie, where he was able to find Luke Floria. We keep saying that name again. He's been a quarterback's favorite along with Harold Fannin, but a high arcing pass, beat the blitz, got it out there to Floria for a touchdown, and that got the crowd going here at Cross Country Mortgage Campus.
Yeah, we got a lot of excitement on that, but that's been consistent the couple days here of camp is Luke getting separation in the receiver room and Shedeur doing a nice job of throwing the layered throw down the field and throwing it on time too. And with that good rush that's coming from the defensive linemen that were not allowed to keep their hands down, made it even a little more challenging for him. And to see that type of throw, that's a professional throw.
Yeah, it was a nice high arc, led him as we see Luke Floria walk right past us here. He was the man who caught that touchdown. Then the Browns got into some red zone periods, both 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. Dillon Gabriel got work with the starters in the 11-on-11, had a nice touchdown pass to DeAndre Carter. Today we saw some really good balls from Dillon Gabriel. We saw a few that got away from him high, but again, progress from the rookie, and that touchdown to Carter, probably his play of the day.
Yeah, I really like his timing and his anticipation. And again, not being a quarterback homer here, but the no pads and defensive linemen completely standing up like trees, okay, right now in the pass lanes is not realistic to what you'll see during the season. So this is exponentially more challenging on him with defensive tackles and defensive ends in your face standing up. There'll be clearer lanes in the in the live stuff, but in those that tight stuff with guys in his face, he made unanticipated, good timing, accurate throws.
Yeah, and that's what we need to see more of. Shedeur in his red zone period was on the other field, had some big-time throws, couple of touchdowns, including one to Deontay Johnson coming across the back end line that had a lot of mustard on it, was a nice touchdown. And then Kenny Pickett, at the end of practice, he had a walk-off, climbed the pocket, a rollout to the right, threw a touchdown there, had about 3 touchdowns down in that red zone period, some in tight windows, one to Brendan Bates, but that kind of rollout there at the end, that's what you like in the Kevin Stefanski offense. When you have the ability to run it, pass it, you can use that, kind of sprint your quarterback out and give him a couple of looks, and he's able to see if the defense goes front side, boom, you have that trailing tight end, he hit that for the touchdown.
I'm really looking forward to talking to Kenny today, post this practice here, and getting some of his thoughts on this, to the Shedeur play, and to the talking about through this show of the awesome job of anticipation that the quarterbacks are doing right now. You'll see a play in the red zone where Shedeur threw the flat, and the receiver tight end was going to do a return route. So it looks like an ME, a mental mistake, a negative. It's a good training camp play for coaches to yell at you about. But really, for me, from an old quarterback perspective, I enjoyed watching that because it showed me that Shedeur Sanders knows that you could throw early and throw in before a guy is open and trying to anticipate where he's going. And instead of taking the easy throw in a 7-on-7 Saturday morning practice that gets an easy plus, he's challenging himself to accelerate his throws.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do in the National Football League. You basically have less than 3 seconds from the time the ball is snapped to get it out, decipher what the defense is doing, and throw it on time and accurately. Now, a guy who knows a lot about playing that position in the National Football League, of course, we're blessed with Bernie here, but he's also a former quarterback, former #1 overall pick, and is a current NFL Network analyst. David Carr, he caught up with our Andrew Siciliano to talk about the rookies in particular and what he thinks the plan should be here in Cleveland.
This kind of feels like old times. David Carr and me,
this guy,
sitting in
Legend.
director's chairs, just two dudes wearing shorts in front of a camera.
talking ball, man.
Good to see
It's
you,
always
man.
Bro, when I saw this guy's face when I pulled up, the joy that hit my heart,
You are such a liar.
having not slept, I said, there's got to be a familiar face here.
All eyes, obviously, are on the quarterbacks. There are other issues here with the Browns, other battles, other injuries to discuss, but it's about the quarterbacks. Let's talk about the rookies specifically here. When you look at Dylan Gabriel, pick 94, when you look at Shedeur Sanders, pick 144, as a former pick #1 overall who played immediately as a rookie, what do you look to see today?
It's a lot, but I think ultimately we always talk about the eye test. That's what I want to see. I want to be here and see them live and see how they move, see how they throw, see if they can layer the ball. There's a lot of things that you just can't see on film. You can see the competitiveness, you can see overall ability, but like actually getting to see them in 11-on-11 drills, in 7-on-7, working amongst their teammates, you can get a really good sense of how the quarterback moves. Also, his ability to understand early, that is so crucial.
The former #1 overall pick in 2002, you were thrown in immediately, right? You started day one. By the way, you won day #1 as well in primetime. He and his Houston Texans beat the Dallas Cowboys. I had a big party at my house that night. We remember watching. The Cowboys went down, and we all celebrated David Carr. Philosophically, though, after seeing Mahomes sit, after seeing Aaron Rodgers sit, and after going through what you went through, are you of the mind that a quarterback needs to sit and watch, or should they be thrown into the fire?
No, sit as long as you can. I mean, it's a luxury. What you guys have here now with the two veteran guys able to be ahead of these two young guys, that takes so much pressure off them for a lot of reasons. In the meeting rooms, you get to actually watch Joe Flacco and Kenny kind of work through, how do you talk to a coach? How do you get game plan oriented to where you get your stuff in? Like, how do you work and navigate that space? And then at the same time, the outside pressure is going to be so big because as soon as one of these guys goes out, Dylan or Shedeur, and they throw a couple touchdowns in the preseason, everybody's going to want them to play. But to have that veteran buffer to where you say, we're going to put the veteran guys out there. We're going to let them go. We're going to try to focus on getting this team to play as good a football as we can. That kind of gives them some time to kind of just breathe. I honestly, like when you go out here and you're in shorts, so for me, I threw it better than Kent Graham and Tony Banks and these guys. And so they put me in. There was no real other option. These guys were kind of towards the end of their career, at least with Flacco, who is at the end. He can still sling it. Kenny's a young guy they traded for. You have some guys that you can put out there in front of them and kind of let them breathe for a second. So I'm a big fan of sitting, watch these guys perform. The first time I went through a week of preparation to get ready to play the Cowboys, that game you mentioned, I was doing it myself because I had now won the job. And the veteran guys are less eager to help you in that situation. Unfortunately, that's the way that it is. And so I think that the longer you can go without putting that pressure on the young kid, the better.
And you know what? The schedule does the Browns no favors either as well. You open at home against Joe Burrow. You're on the road against Lamar Jackson. Then you're home against Jordan Love. And then you're on the road against Jared Goff. And then you go to London And then after London is no bye at Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers.
So let's wait till Christmas. Are we good with Christmas, everyone? Christmas present, little Shador or Dylan, that'd be great.
Great present to unwrap. David Carr, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
All right, stay
Yeah.
cool over there under the
Yeah,
tent.
that's gonna be great. I mean, there's no rain, it's humid, but you know what? I'm ready for it.
It's going to rain in like an hour.
Perfect.
All right,
Good.
David Carr, everybody.
Well, Bernie, David Carr makes it very clear that he thinks it is valuable for a rookie quarterback to sit a little bit. Now, I think as we've seen with guys like a Jaden Daniels or, guys who are drafted at the top of the draft, they don't have that luxury anymore. But the Browns drafted these rookie quarterbacks in the 3rd and 5th round, respectively. So I think there's no question they will get that opportunity to sit. Why do you think that's so valuable? And obviously he had a tough situation. Came with the Houston Texans expansion team. That was brutally tough on him.
I'm a huge fan of David Carr, and I had fun as just a fan today being on here talking to him. And not saying it just because I'm biased and friends with him. Almost like Tim Couch. And this is why I have some of the exact answers I have with the young quarterbacks today. Yes, Jaden Daniels, exceptional. Danny Marino, exceptional from the beginning of it. But that's the anomaly. And we've ruined more quarterbacks. And I really believe that guys like David Carr and for sure Tim Couch were actually better quarterbacks than me. But they got banged around and crushed earlier in their careers. And they become lacking in confidence, developing bad habits, and then just physically hurt. And that thing happened to Tim Couch. That happened to David Carr. There's a little bit of friction with me and Baker early in our relationship because I did not want to see that to him. I loved Baker, but wanted Tyrod Taylor to play, and it's very similar to my thoughts now with Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett to help the young quarterbacks assimilate into the NFL.
Kenny Pickett, 15-10 as a starter. Great winning percentage there, winning 3 out of every 5 games. He started 7 game-winning drives that he's led as well. And so those are the guys I think that are most likely. Unless a rookie comes out here and blows everybody away, I think it's going to be Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco starting week 1, just as you want to see.
Well, I'm actually looking forward to our interview with Kenny Pickett post the practice here today because one of the things I wanted to ask him, and I may do this in the spirit of humor and stuff, but, he started his career, he went Pat Narduzzi at University of Pitt, who's a Youngstown State guy, tough, hard-nosed, run the ball, play action pass, more similar to Kevin Stefanski. Yep. He then goes to the Steelers. That seems awesome, but he was punished in the spread offense that is a quarterback killer. And so for him to have been in that bubble screen offense for the first 1.5, 2 years of his career to not really develop that type of stuff that he's strong at, I actually think he's going to be way more suited and more comfortable in this type of system again.
Yeah, he is a perfect fit for this system. And speaking of your interview with Kenny Pickett, I see him coming now. So Bernie, I'm going to step out and you're going to go one-on-one with Kenny Pickett.
All right, Kenny, great to be with you here today post-practice. I remember the training camp days from 40 years ago, and I loved meeting you with the great Terry Bradshaw back a few months ago. So welcome to town. Excited to be talking to you today. One of the things I kind of want to ask from a strategy and offensive play calling perspective, I'm a bias towards Youngstown State. Your coach, when I was a little boy growing up, Pat Narduzzi, came from Youngstown State. You had Pitt, ran kind of the running game, play action pass, complementary football that I really believed in too. When you then went to the Pittsburgh, which sounds cool, you went from really the same city, but the antithesis type system. And going from the running play action game that I think you and guys like me flourished in to that spread offense early in your career, how do you feel that really hurt your development or helped your development?
Yeah, I'll just speak on like you said, the play action with the run game. It's huge in the NFL to be able to run the football, and keep balance, and all the play actions all fit, all look the same, all sound the same. And all of a sudden you find guys wide open. So I think that's something that we're searching to do here, and Kevin's been doing it for a long time with Tommy. And also, Tommy brings his element of it, from the places that he's been. So it's great to be in a system like this, working with these guys, these coaches, just trying to get better every day.
Okay. Hey, as a QB who's kind of known for wanting to be a pocket quarterback like myself, not being a suck up to you, but you have way more athleticism than me, so you have some escapability within the pocket and stuff coming into a system like this. What's some of your mindsets that you go through in terms of process, procedure, and when you think about tucking it down, looking down, and running or checking down?
Yeah, I want to be diligent through my reads and my progressions and play fast, play fluid and natural. If I feel like there's a lane there and they cover us down, I'm going to take off and get as much as I can get. If I can scramble, keep my eyes up and find someone downfield, I can do that also. So I think having those elements that a defense has to be conscious of, down in, down out, I think can only benefit us as an offense.
For the young quarterbacks out there, and I didn't want to sound like a suck up, but one of the things I wanted to compliment you on, and you saw it clearly again in practice today, most quarterbacks in duress in situations, their eyes drop. And quarterbacks, we want to keep our head up, look above the camera, and you keeping your eyes downfield as you step up in the pocket, not run up out of control, is very impressive, and it allows you to kind of hit that intermediate to deep throw without giving up that short throw. So we saw that clearly in practice. So you can see that looks like it's pretty natural to you.
Yeah, it's something that I think I've been working for a long time, and coming here with Coach Musgrave, and he has great drills that we've also worked. Just attacking the line of scrimmage, you bring the defense up, you throw it over their head. If they drop back, I take off. So it's kind of just playing with my eyes up, read, react, and go.
Well, Bernie, that was great. Just a couple of quarterbacks talking football there. And, he's an impressive young man, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think people forget, this is a first-round pick. This is a guy who's won more than he's lost in this league. That is not easy to do, and he has an opportunity, and clearly he wants to make the most of it.
Well, like we talked about a little bit in the interview, I've had a chance to meet him back with the awesome Terry Bradshaw. So meet Terry and Kenny to meet and get to talk. I still have my Browns roots, but his focus and assimilation and intensity towards really wanted to reestablish his career. I really love that intensity. I think we're going to benefit from that here in Cleveland.
Yeah, one of the staples of this offense, they're going to be those play-action keepers, and we saw Kenny Pickett have a lot of success with those today. In fact, the final play of practice was a little rollout to the right, and he was able to find Blake Whitehart for a touchdown that was the final play of practice. Speaking of what it's like, that intensity, being in the huddle, getting to hear your quarterback, we had Kenny Pickett mic'd up. Take a listen.
Be clean. Let's go. Let's go, babe. Let's go, babe. Let's do it. Set! Set! Good route, Luke. Good route, Luke. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, in and out of the huddle. Let's go. Let's go. Set! Set! Dude. I need to run. Okay. Moving. Let it go. That's all. Good job. Good. Bro, why are you running like Jack Sparrow? That was full Jack Sparrow run. That was crazy. Wasn't it? It looked just like him. It's hot! Hot! Hey, good job. When you get to your spot. That was a good ass route. Yeah. What are you worried about your feet? You got them in though. It's a tug.
All right, it's fun to hear the sounds of football, but the sound we were missing right there, and that mic'd up with Kenny Pickett, that's the sound of the pads, and we're going to get those on Monday. And before we get there, let's welcome in the third member of Training Camp Insider, the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano.
You guys are doing a great show, by the way. It's fantastic.
Thank you. We're having a good time. Yeah, we had a quarterback hanging out there. We got to talk about the offense bouncing back a little bit. What did you see out here today?
You just said it. The offense bounced back, and maybe we didn't see it early in practice. There are a couple of balls that were sailed by multiple quarterbacks, but late in the session where we got the two red zone, you got two fields going to two different red zone drills, I thought they made some plays. There was something to build on. I told Jacques Cesaire afterwards, your D-line unit is wrecking practice. Pump the brakes, buddy. He got a good laugh out of that, Browns D-line coach, obviously. Listen, the takeaway here is I don't know that we're going back to the number one defense in the NFL, but the defense looks great. The defense looks great early on, and the offense is making strides. It's not real football, Bernie, as you know, in shorts and shells. It's real football when the pads come on. So I am excited and looking forward to Monday.
You're right. You kind of do need the pads. Boy, our defensive backs are smothering.
Yep.
And with or without pads, the DBs and their ability to lock down has been really clear the first couple days that I've been here.
And real quick, the level of competition obviously has been here from day one. I really enjoy the O-line, D-line one-on-ones on that far field earlier as well today. To me, that's like the best part of camp. 11 on 11 is fun, but the one-on-one stuff to me, that's iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, especially when those pads come on, and we're going to have that. The players are off Sunday. They will be back Monday. We will have another Training Camp Insider for you then, and that will be the breakdown of the first day in pads. For Andrew Siciliano, for Bernie Kosar, I'm Nathan Zagura saying thanks for watching another edition of Training Camp Insider presented by Gregory Industries.